My name is Mark Steere, and I'm a designer of abstract games. I've been designing since 1992, off and on, in a very narrow class. My games have simple rules. They're played with simple equipment like stones or checkers, and standard rectangular or hexagonal boards. I never use what I refer to as rings and balls and cones and shit. My games are naturally finite and scalable. Designing is, for me, more science than art. I like to discover novel mechanisms. I'm not making chess and checkers variants. Most game designers start with a concept, play test it, tweak the rules, play test it some more, tweak it some more. I don't do that. Some of my games do turn out to be popular, but it's just blind luck. I only require the gameplay to be robust. Mainly there should be minimal turn order advantage that can be effectively managed by scaling up to larger boards as players advance in skill. Although there can be other robustness issues, like first kill advantage. If I invent an interesting mechanism that's robust, I have achieved my objective. I won't tweak the rules after that. And it's generally not possible to tweak the rules even if I wanted to. My games are so simple that any rule change would either add complexity or completely change the essence of the game. If a design isn't working out for whatever reason, I'll throw it away, take a break, clear my mind, and start fresh in a different direction. There are about 5 other guys in the world doing approximately what I do. What sets me apart is that I'm the most serious about simplicity and finitude, and the least concerned about the play experience. About 40 of my over 100 games are programmed for online play. Most of these were programmed by professional developers, but some I programmed myself. I don't enjoy programming, but the ends justify the means. If you want something programmed bad enough and no one else is willing to do it, you have to do it yourself. I taught myself how to program, though I did have considerable help. Once the professionals suspected I didn't need help anymore, they stopped helping me. But I still needed occasional help for those brick walls. Somehow there was always one person who was willing to help me. And I actually managed to get through a few programs without any help, though that was more the exception than the rule. I only play my own games, usually around 6 to 8 different games on a daily basis. A few months ago, another designer got me interested in Konane, which he had programmed for online play. We played it a couple times, and I watched some videos of Konane being played on beautiful, traditional, exotic wood papamūs. I was very impressed by the game, the equipment, and the history. Konane is thousands of years old. Missionaries banned it, but ultimately it re-emerged. I was so intrigued by Konane and the Papamu that I ended up designing 3 games for the Papamu with the same starting setup as Konane, a checkerboard pattern of black and white stones. Narrows, in particular, is extraordinary. I consider Narrows to be one of my top 10 or maybe even top 5 mechanisms, somewhere in that neighborhood. For one thing, it has a very unique goal. Normally, there are a limited number of goals to choose from. Annihilate the enemy. Last move wins. End up with the most territory or the highest score. Capture the enemy king. Break through to the other side. There are a lot of possible goals, but they all get reused a lot. In the case of Narrows, no other game has its goal. I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of what abstract games are out there, but some of my colleagues do. If the Narrows goal already existed, they'd know about it. Beyond that, the Narrows mechanism is very simple and overall magnificent. For me, it doesn't get any better than Narrows. I will post a video about Narrows. Konane is a fairly ordinary mechanism made up of off-the-shelf parts. For me, the play is a little opaque. It's calculational, topographical, and overall somewhat difficult. But I'm not very smart, as you may have gathered. Some of my games are more suitable for the talented among us, and in those games, I'm usually left holding the bag. No one can invent mechanism like me, but that's something different. Now for the good news. There's a strange beauty in Konane. The positions that develop are striking. There's also a wide variety of endgame scenarios, which most abstract games don't have. I saw some videos of Hawaiian guys talking about Konane and the Konane mindset, whatever the fuck that is. Actually, very little was said about the game itself. Nothing about the tactics or strategy, nothing about the players. It was almost entirely a massive marketing campaign that to me seemed utterly misguided. I never imagined myself making a YouTube video. It's not really my thing, but these guys drove me to it. I really had to speak out. So now they have their podcast series and I have my podcast series. Konane has a lot going for it. Besides its history and tradition and equipment, the mechanism itself is pretty remarkable. It's very simple, naturally finite and scalable, exactly my kind of mechanism. Konane gameplay is pretty impressive. I got killed, but I could see the beauty of how it works, how the stones are like tinder for a wildfire that burns through it. But none of this was discussed by the promoters. Instead, all they did was posit outlandish claims like that Konane represents Hawaiian values, and it's really about resource management. These guys treat Konane like a pack mule to pile all their hopes and dreams onto. This is what I call Konane balone, and I'll be posting a video about it. One more thing, I really wanted to have a genuine Hawaiian Papamu with the traditional pebbles made of coral and lava fragments. Beach rubble. I reached out to like 25 different people, everyone I could find online. Mostly I got ignored. I also got a lot of no's and too busies. A few guys initially said they'd do it, but eventually changed their mind and said they were too busy, or they just suddenly and inexplicably stopped communicating with me. This was all dragged out over the course of several months. You ask 3 questions, and weeks later they answer one of your questions and ignore the other 2. So every question has to be asked individually and answered after a multi-week delay. And of course, no one ever answers their phone. That almost goes without saying. I still don't have an authentic Hawaiian Papamu, and I've pretty much reached the end of the line. So I'll be making a video about that fucking asinine experience. Recently, I got this lovely 2-inch thick walnut papamu made by a woodworker in Ukraine. It has a 4x5 grid on one side and a 6x7 grid on the other side. What I like most about it is the goodwill surrounding it. The guy had asked me if he could make some of my games for his customers, and had offered to pay me a licensing fee. I told him he could use my games for free, no charge. Then he made this papamu for my papamu games and sent me a photo of it. I offered to buy it, but he wouldn't let me pay for it. He sent it to me free of charge. It came with wooden marbles, but I ordered some glass marbles for it online. So there was no nauseating whining about how sensitive Hawaiians are. And I have to understand how painful it is for Hawaiians to send a small bowl of beach rubble out of state while charging $600 to $800 for it, just for the beach rubble alone. I guess the exorbitant pricing makes selling it a little more bearable. So just goodwill with the Ukrainian Papamu, no bad will. And that's all for now. Let's close it out with a view of Ulaanbaatar. Okay. This is my cat, Cece. I found her outside northern Mongolia. She was 6 months old, and she was freezing. She weighed like a pigeon. I picked her up and just bones and fur. Now she's like still half feral and still half friendly. I made this garden for her, Cece garden, so not just like a shitty cat condo. Kitchen. Okay. Here we go, my terrace. So this is, I guess, western, kind of northern, I don't know what direction it is. It's raining now, right on time for my video. This is my garden, or forest, Cece forest. Cece garden is inside. And this is, I think, the eastern direction, like Russian monument. Busloads of Koreans come every day to go see that. It's a mural, like a circular mural that kind of tells a story. First it's Russian soldiers. Then one of them is meeting a lady, Mongolian lady. Then later in the mural she's pregnant, and then later holding a baby. So I don't really know what the story is. Maybe I can look it up online. Okay, so that's good for now.